Woo, let's get it. All right. Welcome, everyone, to a brief Black horror history. My name is Zero Gravity, and I have an awesome group of panelists today, and we are going to, complain a little bit and celebrate our history in the horror genre. So, excuse me real quick while I share my screen for a very informative and shiny slideshow. Da da da. And here we got it. All right. All right. All right. So, welcome to a Black horror history. And let's begin. So, first, what's on the menu for our panel today? We have Black horror origins. We're going to talk a little bit about some tropes, some milestones and horror. And we're also going to do a Q&A. So I just want to mention that you will be able to send us Q&A questions. We'll also be reading the chat. You don't have to save them for the very end. If it comes up on your head, let us know. And I'm sure we'll be able to answer all of your questions. All right, so let's begin. But first, our panelists. So first we have Girl That's Scary. That is made up of Jazz, 40-ounce Connoisseur, and Cat Daddy. So Girl That's Scary is a weekly DMV-based horror and sci-fi podcast hosted by Cat Daddy, whose pronouns are she, they, and Jazz, the 40-ounce Connoisseur, she, her. They enthusiastically discuss aliens, the pending zombie apocalypse, and everything that is in between. You can check out your friendly neighborhood homegirls every Thursday, wherever you listen to your podcast. And they are also part of the Dread Central Podcast Network. Then we have Brother Ghoulish, aka Ryan W. Kinney. He's a horror podcaster, writer, and a killer TikToker, if I may say so myself. He hosts Brother Ghoulish's Tomb, a horror film review podcast, Brother Ghoulish's Dragula Breakdown, in which he provides after-show commentary from the Boulet Brothers' Dragula for all of our drag fans out there, and co-host Bloody Massacre podcast, and just recently, Golf Claps, published his Black queer horror anthology called There's Something Wrong in Mornington County, which we all have our paws on already, but you definitely should too. Next, we have Bobby Torres, who is aka Bobby Likes a Spooky. He's a seasoned horror YouTuber who reviews and discusses horror movies, both new and old, on his channel. And you can also hear him as on the go as he co-hosts the Scream Kings, with a Z, not to be mistaken, and People Under the Scares podcast. And next we have me. My name is Zero Gravity. I'm a horror podcaster and entertainer with a focus on the horror, sci-fi, and dark fantasy realms. I co-host Bloody Massacre with Brother Ghoulish, and as COVID allows, I curate and host nerdy fundraisers, events, and parties as New York City's spookiest MC, and all that other stuff. So let's get to the meat. I just wanted to start with this quote because we all hold it very dear to our hearts, but yeah, y'all jump in at anytime at all.
To not a redo, Queen.
Right. Yes, Queen, give her flowers right now. Yes. She is with us and actively working. I think she just released a book of short stories. So read those, read Ghost Summers, read everything she writes. But Black history is Black horror. So we're going to jump into that first jumping point of, where you see Black people in horror. And unfortunately, it's Birth of a Nation, where they decided, you know what, we going to make full-length movies, right? And the first thing we're going to do is we going to put on blackface and show you how to fear the Negroes. What? Like, you could have made a movie about anything, bro. And you was like, yeah, we go put the white woman in danger and make the black man, like, the danger. Okay. And we're going to create this narrative that motherfuckers are scary. Oh, can we cuss? I don't know if we cuss, but people are scary. So, okay, and it's really, over the top too. It's not like, oh, they walking down the street. No, they are literally having them eat aggressively, that bulge in their eyes, and this is where you think about blackface, minstrel shows, and things like that, where you over exaggerate characteristics that our Black people are thought to have. And it's like, we're not a monolith, guys. Everybody is not eating watermelon and tap dancing, and most of us are not. But Black history in general is horror. Even the things that we experience in America up to this point, still to this day, it's horror.
I love that so much. And to build on it, maybe Black history to people who are not in our culture may seem like Black horror because it represents like our joy, and they know that we have legitimate reasons to be mad, channeling Solange. But in reality, we're just trying to think of like opportunities to express our culture through media. And I love that Tana Reeve Du said this, because when we look at Birth of a Nation, like you're talking about, Jazz, like it's all based in that perspective. Depending on who's looking at it, it is 100% horror.
Facts.
That's period. All right. So we touched on it a little bit. The origins, the birth, the beginning. Birth of a Nation. The crazy thing about this is the first time I was hip to Birth of a Nation wasn't because of our history in the genre. I actually learned about this in class in college, and I took an intro to film class. And this was technically like the first big release, which is kind of a scary thing to think about. And it's not even a horror movie, really. And the elephant in the room was never discussed in this class, which is insane to think about because it's such a huge part of our history as Black people in horror. But I guess in the American schooling system, that part's a little swept under the rug, if you know what I mean. And then we have Son of Ingagi. Anyone want to talk about Son of Ingagi?
Black women in STEM for the win.
Okay.
I mean, that was the spirit of that one for sure.
I first heard about this one, like kind of just in passing, but definitely when I got a chance to check out horror noir. And I was like, okay. It was really breathtaking to see that, especially for the time, like, because at that time, like, you know what kind of roles that Black people were given, if we were given any roles at all. So it was awesome to see a woman in STEM, and not someone just playing like any old minstrel kind of character.
And also I would add just kind of showing Black people living normal lives, and not having to portray any type of stereotype. Black women in STEM is like, that's real forward, especially for 1940. Kind of unheard of. But then also like you have normal scenes of just, Black people going to church, Black people getting dressed up to go to a wedding, just normal stuff that you really would not otherwise see at this time. And then Night of the Living Dead. I'm putting my hands up. Somebody else take this one away from me.
Where do we like literally like
where do we
go
not say
about
from
this
here?
film? Exactly.
Everything. You get the part where you have a Black character who takes a role that's not specifically written for a Black character, which is huge because if you have mostly white directors, which outside of race films, if y'all don't know, where they made everything because they were outside of the Hollywood production companies, because they, of course, are not going to hire Black people and Black directors. So Black people had to take their little micro budget to make their own films for Black people to see. But in this film, you have an actor, Dwayne Jones, just came in and auditioned for a role that it was open to, pretty much everybody. And then George Romero said, you know what? You. So it's not like, oh, we're going to write in that he's going to bulge his eyes. I watched King of the Zombies like last week, and there's an actor there, they're bulging their eyes. It's the scared. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, which we call the spook. Hate that word, but it's like, okay, they put the Black people in movies and their job is to be afraid of everything. Everything is they're superstitious, which is seen as not smart or not grounded. So they can be discounted. But in this situation, there are still zombies, okay, but Dwayne Jones said, I am the boss up here, you are the boss down there, okay. So it's just like it changed the game, and Black people can play any character. You don't have to box them into this, you don't have to box them in. I'm every woman, it's all in me.
Yeah. Yes. It's true.
I agree with 100% what Jess said though. Like I remember when I was younger, this movie was always on repeat, just because we didn't see too many horror movies with Black actors being front and center right there, taking the lead, and they're always the side characters or the ones that's dying first, or whatever. But to see him kind of just like run the whole entire movie, it was kind of like inspirational to me, because like, back in the day you didn't really see too many of us doing that. So I'm like watching this a lot, because I'm like, if he could do it, I can do it too. You know what I mean? So it was a great thing to see. And I always had gripes with the ending though of this movie, because it's like, is it racism or did they make a mistake? Obviously racism, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely love Night of the Living Dead. And on a recent rewatch, it's just one of those movies that there are so many layers that you can still discover upon each rewatch, especially when you talk to people. Because someone noted that it is interesting that his body would be on the pile of zombies, and he's clearly not one. But
Mhm.
when you think about all of the kind of like fanfare and how chaotic everything was because everyone was so worked up, of course the marginalized people end up paying. Like, think about that scene where the radio transmission is coming through when the daughter is in the basement, right? I look at this scene so differently now, and I've seen this movie a million times because of a recent rewatch, where the wife goes mad because she finds out that the husband got some information about these zombies earlier in the day. And she's like, turn that thing back on, because it's going to tell us what we need to do. And if you do that and the propaganda is racist, you're a zombie to a racist like movement. You in and of yourself are kind of like a zombie in that moment. And the marginalized person paid. And the one who was pioneering, he's trying to make sure
Mhm.
we get out of this thing safe and okay. But I think that's what I love about like Night of the Living Dead, because admittedly, when I saw it when I was younger, I didn't catch all this. I'm like, zombies, yay. But like as you get older, you see like those layers. It's just deeper.
Ages well too.
Yes.
Yeah, well, most of it, right? It's when he started putting his hands on her. I was like, oh, we just gonna turn our hands.
Oh,
Yeah.
We just gonna look away.
I do not see it. I do not see it. But I recently was having a discussion about Night of the Living Dead with someone, and we were comparing and contrasting endings of Night of the Living Dead versus the ending of Get Out, and they both
Mhm.
kind of invoke that similar feeling where kind of especially if we're talking about the alternate ending, which I'm very glad that we didn't get.
Yeah.
But both of these movies kind of have you leaving the theater or a screening or whatever, just at home, still thinking about it. And it kind of it's longer than just, oh, the movie's ending, oh, he got away, oh, they killed him. Both of these movies make you think about why. Why didn't he get away, or why, and I think they both, you could lump them together that way. But I also think it's important to mention that George Romero is definitely an ally, and may he rest. If anyone's ever seen the second Dawn of the Dead, also this man in like very handsome black leads is just like a really good streak to have. We have Ken Furry in Dawn of the Dead, a little bit more social commentary about like consumerism, stuff like that, but still having, for lack of better terms, the boss up here while you could go be the boss down there. And then next on our list, we have a movie called Blackula. And I want Girl That's Scary to take this one away.
I'm standing in the corner. You already know.
I love Blackula. It's a part of the blaxploitation movement because, of course, with the end of the race films, and you have George Romero jumping in, pretty much showing that Black people are getting roles in white Hollywood films. So they are assuming there's no need for race films, but in actuality, they do need still that authentic, and Blackula is authentic because the director is Black and it's William Crane is in there. But a lot of the blaxploitation movies, the director is not Black. So you have them jumping in with no money, Like, we just about to, Black people want to go to the movies, so we about to make this cheap stuff. We about to put up a whole bunch of pimps in here and some crime. And yeah, we about to slap some people and put outfits on. Okay, Blaxploitation. Versus you have this situation where it's Blaxploitation, but we have William Marshall, who's presented as a prince, as royalty. He comes in like, oh, I'm trying to stop the slave trade. I don't know what y'all talk about. And Dracula, racist. Dracula gonna bite him.
Yes.
And turn him into the undead. Listen, unfortunate. And then he got to come back and walk the earth, let his wife die of starvation. Just everything about that was just like literally showing off his white supremacy. You know what? You want me to stop doing what? Girl, I will make you a slave right now. It's pretty much what Dracula said, and it's what he did. But you get this character who you feel for, who's supposed to be a monster, but you feel for them because you see where they came from, and they're really just trying to find their wife and really get out of here. Honestly, they're not even trying to torment everybody, but you know, the hunger for blood.
This movie makes me cry. Y'all know I'll be crying all the time, but this movie really makes me cry because not only am I like feeling for like Prince Mamuwalde, everything he's going through. He's like, damn, I'm a vampire. I don't want to be a vampire anymore. Look at these cool outfits. I don't really know. I just want to find my lost love. And then you get to the second movie and he's like, dang, y'all done resurrected me. I told you I just wanted to go back to Africa. Please leave me alone. And I just feel for him. Like, although we get to see Black people of all different backgrounds, just having a good old time, wonderful, beautiful gowns, endless outfits. But yeah, come on. But we're also getting to like powerful speeches, like awesome movements. We're getting to see, what's my man? His name's gonna come to me in a second. That's playing who makes a statement about being able to see his face and how a man should be able to see themselves and how they dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Richard Lawson.
Yes, with his fine self. It's in the chat right now. Shout out to MW. He's like, yes, a Black man's got to see his face. He tried to get his outfit together. He can't put his fit together because he can't see. Terrible.
It was a good time. If you have not seen any of these movies we mentioned, y'all, please go ahead and press play.
All right. Let me say
one thing on Blackula before we scoot aside.
Please.
I'll keep it real cute. Because I thought it was also dope looking back at it. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it real quick. That there was a black gay vampire in this movie, and like looking back at it, and it was something that, you know, I don't take for granted because I fit into that box, you know, resident queer here. But also Pamela Grier in Scream Blackula Scream, because I think that like the role that she represented in that movie was very positive, especially for someone who's involved in African-based spirituality, and it's not seen as like this nasty evil thing. It's like you get what you give, which is a very like Black cultural like reference, and I just love it. That's all. I just wanted to give those two shout outs. Now, all right, we can. My bad.
It's true. No, it's true though. Well said. Thank you. Okay, now the most irritating part of our discussion, which would be a fault if we didn't bring this up, but of course we have to, the tropes. Okay, and I know everyone watching has heard, oh, the Black guy dies first. They're not going to be here for long. I've seen this movie before. I know how this is going to end. It's actually a little bit more complicated than that. Although I would like for it to be as easy as, oh, we just die first. Unfortunately, we have a little bit more of a web to untangle, but we have three big ones, right? So we have the sacrificial Negro, the magical support Negro, and the comedic relief Negro. And I will say more often than not, up until a certain point in horror, your Black character will most likely occupy at least one. Sometimes there's like those instances where they overlap, where you might be a magical support Negro and a comedic relief Negro. But I want to say 9 times out of 10, we're going to fall into these boxes.
Definitely falling into these boxes. And speaking of double falling into both, Alfred Woodard and Annabelle was definitely a sacrificial Negro and a magical. You know, they always got to have a backstory. They always know everything. Oh yes, and this and that, and we're gonna tell you about this. And oh no, I'm gonna hold the doll. Although you unlock the evil, I'm gonna take the doll and I'm gonna take the fall for your shenanigans. Alfred Woodard, why? Just no, please let Annabelle get them and go on about your business.
Was that when she threw herself from the balcony?
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. that was tough to watch and like so fictional. If there's anything that will take you out of a movie, it's that. It's that. It'll just be me. Forget my whole life.
Also comic relief all the time. Always the key, or the magical support Negro is not always magical. It's just a support Negro, like, are you okay, girl? So the Black character exists who acts about the white character. You see that in The Craft, Stigmata, where I think who's in Stigmata? Isn't it Nia Long? You got
Nia Long, yeah.
You got the Nia Long in here. Just go, are you okay, girl? Maybe you should go to a doctor. You don't know shit else about Nia Long. You just know that she is friends and needs to worry about this white woman the entire film. If like pretty much if the main character was gone, the Black person in the movie would have no purpose. And that's what we're trying to steer away from.
You know what I think? Just randomly, it harkens back to like this really racist rhetoric where they treated us like objects as opposed to people or like possessions. And so by destroying our humanity through these awful tropes, it's like a sneak diss. It's like, oh, well, y'all are characters in this movie. Be happy. It's like, can I have dreams? Can I want something else other than the thing that you want to happen? No, that's too much. Okay, my bad.
And it's funny you mentioned that because going back to The Craft with Rachel True, you know how all the girls had something crazy going on with them, but Rochelle's character was racism. But everybody else had scars and, being trailer park trash, like all that type of stuff. But hers was racism. Like, seriously.
We don't even meet her parents. We meet everybody, mama and daddy. We don't even know. We even go to her house and it's an empty house. Like, she has no backstory. I'm like, okay.
You know what's weird about that though? In the script, she had parents, and then on top of that, there's a weird cut scene where the racism is worse. Like, it's making its rounds on TikTok where Nancy is definitely going up to her. Nobody would hang out with you because you're black.
It's a
I'm
deleted
like,
scene.
This is a really disturbing scene.
Yeah, it's out there. It's a deleted scene. I've seen that for the first time maybe 2 years ago, and I was shocked.
It was my first time like last week, and when I tell you my eyebrows went like they touched my hairline, it was intense.
I don't even think that it was supposed to be that way originally. I think I don't think I'm making this up. I think I did read this somewhere, but her issue was supposed to be, something else. All the girls had an issue and hers was supposed to be something else, maybe like eating disorder. And then last minute it was like, well, actually, how about racism? Which I guess.
The way you're saying that's taking me out. How about racism? That sounds like
can you imagine the writer's room? Guys, how about racism? And then everyone claps.
One person in the back, like,
right.
Well, there's no Black people in the room to say, hold on.
Right.
So of course it will fly. Of course it will fly. Okay, we need to talk about our example for the sacrificial Negro, because this is very recent. And as much as I would love for all of these examples to be, from up until 2002, Quiet Place 2 came out when? 2020, 2021?
Yeah, like that. Like within the last 3 to 4 years, it came out. It's fresh.
And this man doesn't even have a name. And I looked it up in the credits. He's titled
Man on Island.
Yeah, there we go. Island Man. Accredited actor, mind you. Like, you've all seen him, and your parents have seen him, and your siblings have seen him. Man on Island, who makes it all the way until 3/4 of the movie and then dies for what?
White people.
And I thought we were making some progress here in these movies.
I thought so too, Bobby.
And I was enjoying the movie up until that point. I was like, you know what? I need to turn this off right now because, like, really, like, why?
And
everything about this annoys me.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, seriously, everything about this annoys me. Like, this is a person that gets to the bag, that has been getting to the bag our whole life, multiple platforms, on the screen, on the runway. And it's You just got to start fighting these people at this point.
Yeah, tell me to in the parking lot of the studio. As soon as they come out the writer's room, see me outside, love. See me outside. We have unfinished business. Because you ain't like, again, not even a name. Like, if you're gonna sacrifice, and I don't even like y'all sacrificing Black people anyway, but think about like Event Horizon, where Lawrence Fishburne goes out, but he has a backstory, he has a name, he's the captain of the ship. Like, and then he, he's in a situation where he might not make it off, and he's already had a backstory where it's, his crew didn't make it off the ship. So there are things, and it's still a sacrifice, but at least there are, if it was somebody else or anyone else, they probably would have done the same thing in his position as a captain, trying to save their crew. They have a backstory. We, top billing. Okay. So it's not like, oh, this random person who is famous, like literally A-list celebrity, and you go sit here and not give them a name and kill them off to further the plot of the white people. That is upsetting.
And you know what? It's doubly wild because the thing is, it just goes back to the thing we were talking about earlier, where it's just humanize the Black character. That it's just that simple. So the Event Horizon example makes sense because this is someone who they've built the characterization, and we're okay, this public service announcement with Black characters dying in horror because it's horror. Everyone needs to get it. We're okay with us being villains. I mean, think about Queen of the Damned. Sure, the movie is a little shaky, but Aaliyah was not. We're okay with seeing ourselves as villains. Like, it's just give us a chance. Like, don't turn us into objects for the plot. That's literally all we're asking for. But people conflate it. They turn it into, so Black people don't want their characters to die. No. We just, you see how you built. See, now I'm going to the rant. Go ahead, Xero. Sorry. See, I caught myself this time.
I also want to say, I think they're trying to like fix that with A Quiet Place now, while making Lupita now the main part in the new Quiet Place.
You got it, Bobby. You got it,
now
Bobby.
I think they heard us crying and talking, so they're like, we're going to put Queen Lupita there, and hopefully, that fix some problems. She just better not die. That's all I need to know. She better not die.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't want to be played where they have us like, yeah, she's starring in this movie, right? And then all of a sudden they cut her off in the first like 10-15 minutes.
Oh,
I'm squaring up.
Jada Pinkett and Scream.
Yes. That's gonna piss me off because Lupita, I don't know about y'all. I know we've seen her in Us, but Lupita is in horror films like Little Monsters, and she be squaring up with whatever the antagonist is, even if she's low-key the antagonist. She be squaring up. Like, you not about to take her out. Like, she's about to literally go, oh, you want to fight? Let's do it. If it's me or you, it's gonna be me.
Period. Here for it.
Here for it. All right. Our milestones. Final girls. So at a certain point, actually, I think we should just explain what a final girl is, if anyone. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all can figure it out. Y'all smart. But final girl, the girl who lasts into the finale of the horror movie. It's usually just her. She usually goes, been dragged through the mud for an hour and 20 to 50 minutes of torture, and remains victorious by the end. But usually there's some sort of trope or some sort of indication that lets you know in the beginning of the movie that she's going to be the one at the end. So usually white, probably blonde, most likely a virgin, most likely practices religion safely, all the things that, would make you safe in life. So naturally, not Black people until Tales of the Crypt Demon Night. Anyone?
Jada Pinkett, we
Listen.
in here. She said, girl, wow, y'all about to look for a key to start the apocalypse in this border house on this land. Not today, girl. I'm not. I have things to do tomorrow. That was her attitude. Like, girl, I have stuff to do. You not about to just go in the world. Like, we're not doing that, girl. I have things. I have appointments. So I loved that. And I don't think I saw that until like maybe like some years, like a few years ago, like in 95, that one went right over my head. And I loved Tales from the Crypts, but I don't remember that being like this blockbuster that they promoted super heavily. And it might be because there was a Black final girl in it, but I could have benefited from seeing this in 95, 96.
Yeah, shout out to I think is it Ernest Dickerson who directed that, because he wanted Jada Pinkett for this role specifically. There's been rumors that he wanted, oh well, not he, but the studio wanted Cameron Diaz to be in the role of Jerry Lynn, and no, she was hot in the mask, but no. But Jada Pinkett turned it out. I was happy to see a Black woman survive in a horror film. And she turned it out. I would love to see her in a sequel if that ever comes about, because it's rare that we see. First of all, it's rare that we have any of our Black final girls make it at all. I mean, I would say Brandy, but technically she wasn't the only one surviving. What's her name? Jennifer Love Hewitt was in it. So I would love to see her come back for a sequel and turn it out Demon Knight.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And I think it's still kind of scarce, but we do have Black final girls now. The iconic 28 Days Later, we have Naomi Harris, who plays Selena. Which I learned this year is also Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean. Went right over my head. I did not know that. I did not know that at all. But that's also a bad bitch. But I think it's important to celebrate them when we got them, because we might be able to count them on our 10 fingers and 10 toes.
You know, one I want to give some shine to. In addition, by the way, shout out to Bria Struthers. Yes, Kiki Palmer and Nope. Yes.
Yeah.
But also Zoe from Escape Room. I really think she gets overlooked a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
She wanted me. I really wanted to fight her in the second movie. Just go let you know.
You was waiting for her in the parking lot.
I was just like, no. But yes, it was, and honestly, if you have not seen Escape Room, it was surprisingly good. If you like to see stuff it was good.
Yeah.
You know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, y'all.
Oh, I was just like, also, if you look at indie movies, don't just look for wide releases. I found a movie that came out 2014 or something called Unsullied. And I'd never heard of this film. I was looking at, I love to look for lists of Black horror where there's a Black person in the movie, period. I want to see what they're doing. But she's the main character and she get kidnapped and she's pretty much, you're in a survival cat and mouse kind of movie. And we need to be talking about her as a final girl, because we need to be putting her on the map. I want to talk about her more. Her name is, she's played, her name is Murray Gray. And she's playing Reagan Farrow. That's who she's playing. So nobody's gonna really know, but it's a Black director too. And again, this is some not underground movie, but an indie film. So of course it really goes under radar. I've never seen it streaming anywhere. I rented it. I paid money, and I'm not upset about the $3.99 I spent. I was with it. Watch Unsullied.
If people in the audience are like me and we haven't seen it, what's it about?
It's pretty much a woman is going to a track meet, so she's an athlete and she's trying to go to this track meet, and her car break down, and you know how that go. Car break down in the boonies, you get kidnapped. That's all you need to know, because we know how the movie is going to go, from that point. So yeah, she get kidnapped in the boonies. Real sad.
I'm with it.
That sounds good.
I'm with it.
Will check that out. Yeah.
Same.
Also, Sweetheart on Netflix. Watch Sweetheart on Netflix, please.
It's an underrated gem. Not too many people talk about that movie, but that movie actually scared me.
Yeah, and that it's got one of the best monster reveals I have seen in a long time. See,
the flare gun? Was it the flare gun?
The flare gun is so wow. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. All right, well, let's keep it moving a little bit. Let's talk about jet horror. So jet horror is a term that I stole from a friend of ours called Prince, and he is a podcaster for Bloody Disgusting on the Nightlife podcast. And basically what jet horror is what we call Black horror from the years 2010 to present. And it was really Get Out that pushed this whole movement forward. And we in it now, and I know y'all see it.
Yeah, we are. I wish I caught the name of it. There's a new Netflix movie out that it feels like Get Out, like in the styling and everything. There are so many people that were really motivated by it. I believe Master kind of feels like it was inspired by what Get Out was trying to do as well. And it's a good thing. So I want to be careful how I word this, but it's also kind of like, we also want to see like Black joy, so like be careful with making so many stories about what Get Out was talking about. Like I think it was perfectly positioned for what it created, which was that moment in Buffy the Vampire Slayer when all the Slayers were activated and stuff. Like it's giving that. Like Get Out, I think gave a lot of Black filmmakers the courage to say, I'm going to go ahead and get on these projects. But we need to see other things too. I wish I remember who it was that told me about the movie that could be coming out with, it's like a zombie apocalypse at an HBCU. I want that.
Whoa.
Give that to me now. Give it to me now.
Excuse me?
Yeah, and Robin
my credit card.
Robin Thede is supposed to be working on this project.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love her. I love
Yes.
her so much. She is funny as hell. Another thing I want to bring up, Attack the Block. Okay.
Yeah.
Attack the Block. We have to thank Attack the Block for giving us John Boyega. Star Wars, you are welcome. Because if it wasn't for that cute ass little smile, John Boyega on Attack the Block, y'all would have never noticed him. And something that I really love that kind of goes under the radar about Attack the Block. If you haven't seen it, y'all, it's about a group of kids and they living in an apartment complex, low income apartment complex, and aliens just come and mess up their neighborhood. And, there they go, get on their bike, Stranger Things style, even though it's late 2000s, and basically protect their community. But the director of this movie, this name is escaping my mind, but they wanted to counter the trend of hoodie horror, which is like the idea of kind of demonizing like Black and brown youth or low income youth and making them hoodlums. So in this movie, they're heroes, and it is so fun, fits right into the jet horror category. And if you haven't seen it, please put it on your list. Also, Vampires versus the Bronx has that same kind of feel.
Yes.
As an East Coaster, I'm there. But
Black as
I'm gonna
Night.
skip for it. Yeah.
Black as
Black
Night
as
as well.
Night as well on Amazon. That one's good too. All right, I'm going to skip forward a little bit just because we have some questions and I want to get to them before we end our panel today. But this is what we got so far. And I am so excited to say that every year it gets better and better for us.
Yes. Shout out to Horror Noir real quick. The documentary and a movie. Not too many people's talking about the movie. I actually enjoy a lot of those stories within that movie. The picture that we just see right there with the two, I forgot their name. One of them is Tone Bell. And that's kind of like a Buffy the Vampire-esque type story, which is I got my whole entire life, because you got these two Black people just whooping ass throughout the whole entire short. It was amazing.
True. All right. Oh, I see a comment in the chat, Black Gay Comic Geek. One, hey. Also, we're not getting Lovecraft Country season 2, but we can pretend. And the second book in the series for Lovecraft Country I think you can pre-order it now, or it's out.
You definitely can.
Yeah.
But we can continue the stories in our heads and read the book as, the characters that we've seen on screen. But yeah, boo, that sucks. But let's answer some of these questions. All right. So question for Brother Ghoulish. Where do you find inspiration for the horror stories that you write? And what do you want people to feel when they read your work?
So I always draw inspiration from my life first, because one of the things that sometimes I get nervous about, because admittedly I do still write about trauma sometimes, and I try to juxtapose, I try to make up a word. I try to like create a little bit of fun with that by also doing a story like Thighs, where it's about thighs coming to life and killing people. But when you peel back that layer, it's about male body positivity, which is something that I didn't really see a lot of in the horror genre, where thicker guys like myself, we get teased for our weight. And I'm just going to stay here just for a hot second and then, move on to the next part of the question. But I think about when I was starting to get into the gay community, and it's, you go to profiles and it's no fats, no femmes, for example, or no Blacks. I'm literally all these things. So it's like something you accidentally internalize. But through what he goes through in the horror in that story, he finds empowerment. And I tried to write stories like that. Like that's the motivation, because not everyone is going to agree with the way that you tell your stories, but if it's your truth, that's something no one can take from you. And it also makes it cathartic, because as I'm writing these stories and editing them and rewriting them a million times, I'm coming face to face with that own monster in my life. And it's helping me like process certain things. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm just being fake. And as for the way I want people to feel, I want them to feel whatever they feel. I don't want to monitor that piece, because that's why I try to create so many different types of stories. That's why there's 12 of them. That's why I go through even time. Like if you notice with for people who've read it, the last 3 stories don't happen in this century. They happen in the future. And it's to show that like these horrors, like the things I'm talking about, they're going to happen no matter what decade you're in. Like it's just life. It's human. It's cool. And if you don't like the story, that's okay. I can't get mixed up about that, especially with all the shit I be talking about, the movies and books I don't like on all my podcasts and things. I wish I would catch a feeling because somebody say they don't like a particular story. Like if you dish it, you have to take it. And on top of that, feedback is a gift. So like if people, because some people have come to me about different stories and stuff, I take that to heart, because that's going to help me decide how I'm going to do that next project and how it's going to hit different. So yeah.
Period. Good answer. All right. Next question. What we got? We have, I've seen the discussion of Black characters as a voice of reason / the character with better intuition and running away from danger, though they still often end up as a sacrificial Negro, almost as punishment. What do you all think about Hollywood's practice in doing this? I mean, I would just say they could kick rocks.
Yeah, they racist. Like what again, like, and I want to talk about because there's another question with sacrificial Negroes and why that's happening. It's happening because the writer's room is always white most of the time. Even if you have 2-3 Black people, the director is white, the producers are white, people who are investing are white, the rest of the cast is white, everyone else on that set is white, the writer's room is white. So they're writing the characters the way they think what Black people are going to do, and they don't know any Black people in real life, which is really unfortunate, or they know them but not well enough, or they think that one Black person represents everything. That's why certain images or tropes are harmful, because people don't know Black people, so they see Black people on TV and go, oh, that's what Black people be doing. No, that's not what Black people be doing. And we don't just be dying and sacrificing ourselves for white people, because they think, a lot of the writers I feel like they're internally thinking, oh, that's how we make the Black person endearing to white people. They sacrifice themselves for the white person. It's like supposed to be this good thing, or they're a hero. No, why can't the white person sacrifice themselves? Why can't it be the other way around? Okay.
Ooh, you know what? What's that movie called? The Girl with All the Gifts. And this girl is like sort of a zombie hybrid, and I think it's at the end of the movie, or there's a bunch of scientists trying to figure out, what to do with these child zombie hybrids. And she says to the scientists, why should it be us that have to die for you?
Period.
Exactly.
And that hit hard. That really hit. But in tangent to that, another question about the sacrificial Negro. Do you think the prevalence of the sacrificial Negro is so great because the folks in the writer's room don't really know what makes us scared?
Ooh.
I don't think they know what makes us scared. I don't know if that's the reason, but they definitely don't know.
Damn, that's a damn good question.
Yeah, good question, Marcus.
Yeah, like they don't know us in general. They don't even know how we talk. Let's start here, because dialogue in movies where they put Black people, the dialogue is on some jive talk, and I'm like, girl, who's doing that? So they don't know how we talk. They don't know what we be wearing. They don't know our actions. They don't know our fears. They don't know our strengths. So they're just writing everything from a white perspective, and that's why until they get brown people in the writer's room to be like, and brown people with power, not the people who like they're in here for the picture, but like if they say something, we're going to ignore them. They need to be able to have power to say, this is not it, and we need to change this, versus, oh, we just got you in here to look good, because that's disgusting.
All right, what else do we have? We have a question from Black Gay Comic Geek. What is your favorite scary movie? Are you excited about Scream 6? What do you think about this being the first Scream without me? I think she needs to take a break, personally. What
I
do y'all
agree.
think?
Me too. I'm the camp of all Scream movies are good movies, and I know that may be a little controversial because people hate Scream 3. I love Scream 3. I will watch any Scream movie at any point. I will be front and center when Scream comes out. I blocked Scream though, so I don't watch no trailers, nothing. All I know is they was on the train. That's all I know, and that's all I care. I don't want to know nothing else. I don't want to know who in the movie. Scream is one of my favorites, and Tales from the Hood. It's hard to name a favorite scary movie, but there are staples. Like I'm wearing the Thing shirt, love the Thing. Tales from the Hood, of course, and Halloween. Just Michael Myers stabbing people up is always really a good time.
Always, never fails, never fails.
Yeah, same.
I do want to say that I am skeptical about Scream 6 just because for the first time it's going to be taking place in my city, and I don't like when they do that without doing their research. So when I saw a ghost face on the 2 train, I was like, oh, okay, because I know what happened when they brought Jason over here and I was disappointed, and just because I'm from here, I got to pretend that I like that movie. But I want to get to this one. This is also a good question, and I think this is all we have time for. But for everybody, is there a horror movie that you would like to see reimagined with a Black cast? Good
Vamp.
question.
Vamp.
Good answer.
Remake Vamp. I've been saying this. I've been campaigning this for a long time. I want either Lupita as Katrina. That's all I see as Katrina, but I want to just see that remake with an all Black cast.
Damn, that's a good question. Because then
That's
I'm
a
also
good
like, do I want my people to go through the bullshit? Like,
yes. So realistically, would we make some of these choices? It has to be a situation where we would make the choices that are putting us in a situation like this. Because I'm like, I would think I love found footage. So I'm like, ooh, what if Blair Witch Project? Which one of us? I don't know nobody going in them woods. I don't know nobody going in them woods. It has to be a situation where they get dropped off and they're accidentally lost up there or something. It can't be, oh, I'm about to go do a project. Because girl, I would change my thesis. I would spend an extra couple of years in school. I'm just going to change my thesis. I would just got to look for financial aid somewhere else or something like that. Because girl, I'm not about to get Blair Witched. But I kind of do want to see, and there's a movie, the sequel has a Black person in it, but I would like to see that reimagined in a way that makes sense for Black people.
Yeah,
I think I would love The Faculty and like have it. I mean, I know I just totally stole Robin Thede like whole idea, but like have The Faculty take place in HBCU would be really cool.
That would be wild.
Bring Usher back.
That's not taking Mama's idea. We need more horror movies based in HBCUs. I mean, Scream 2 happened on campus, and so did Urban Legend, and we don't say nothing about those. Yeah, I like that. I'm with you.
Maybe 28 weeks later, I would like to see that remade. Y'all already know how I feel about that with all the choices. So I would like to see if the Black folks are going to make the same choices that everybody else made, including leaving your wife in the house. I need to see it.
Oh my God.
I need to see it. Y'all see the vision? And maybe bring Selena back, because I really want to know what happened to the original characters. So if we could build on that and then add some other friends, that would be great.
That's a good one. All right. Real quick. What are your favorite scary movie tropes that people may not expect?
Wait, my favorite? Like, not sarcastically. Like, actually, ones we
just like I guess just movie trope. I mean, I always get a chuckle when like final girl falls over nothing. Like, that's cute.
Because my new one, it's favorite sarcastically, but I noticed that it's like, okay, we're just going to make all the Black people therapists and police officers. That's a new thing, and it's very strange.
That's good. That's good.
It's not even new. They did that in exploitation movies. They've been police for a long time. For 50 years, they've been police. I like when the killer's right behind them and they're like talking to someone. So we see them and they're like, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Yes, he is.
He's right behind me.
You're dead. You're done.
You're done. I don't know. Y'all tweeted something about the cheese grater. I don't know if that's really a trope, but it is a cliche. The cheese grater, when the lasers come at your character and then they just pause, and then fall into a bunch of pieces. That's been done a million times. Love that one. Never gets old.
Or people getting dragged. You know how like somebody's like calling for their life and there's a pause and all of a sudden they get dragged into the darkness or into
yeah.
Bobby,
That's
you
a
know
good
which one I
one,
thought
too.
you were going to say? Because you mentioned it on so many things you're on. When they say nope, like how they're starting to
Oh.
lead into that one. That be cracking me up now. Like the
Yes,
kid on
nope, every-
Halloween. And then
Yeah.
didn't they do it again in Candyman recently in
Oh yeah.
2021? Yeah.
They also did it in Barbarian.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, poor Keith. Poor Keith.
Oh,
All right, y'all. That is all the time that we have today. I would love to thank all of you for chatting it up in the chat box next to us, and thank my panelists. I don't know if we have time to do all that shout, but please just go to VirtuousCon website and give them all a follow, because they are some of the smartest people that I know and most versed in the genre. So thank you. What do we have coming up? I don't know. If there's a Black horror movie you're interested in, pay for it. Go to the theater, see it, stream it so we can get our numbers up. Support
Tweet
Black
about it.
horror. Yep, tweet about it.
Mhm.
All that good stuff. Enjoy the rest of Virtuous Con weekend, and don't forget to check out the vendors hall, okay? Because there's some really good stuff in there. Support the vendors, support the con. We would love to do this again. This is our second time at Virtuous Con, but I think that we might be back.